Professional bowling is a global sport, and the international stage where players from different countries compete is the World Bowling Tour. Tonight, the top men's and women's point earners meet here in Texas for the World Bowling Tour Finals, and the top seeds are both from the USA and both are former WBT champs, Anthony Simonsen and Danielle McEwen. Will the Americans prevail once again? That answer straight ahead on FS1. PBA on FS1 rolls on from Arlington, Texas. Rob, Randy, Kimberly back here with you. Liz Johnson just won the women's side. Up now, your three men's finalists. Take a look at our bracket. EJ Tackett will go first, taking on Stuart Williams. Anthony Simonsen waiting in the wings for the survivor. Let's go, Reminder, we're using the WBT current frame scoring system, Randy.
A strike is worth 30. 10 frames, not 12. Single shot, or excuse me, a single frame in the 10th frame. Spares are 10 plus the first shot pinfall. And an open frame will be all the pins you knock down in that frame.
Well, some speed on that spare conversion from Tackett, the native of Bluffton, Indiana. First time on this show.
Good seeing this man bowling well again. And
isn't it?
Yeah, and the way he closed out 2018 was, well, that's the reason why he's here now. Elmsmere, Port England.
Do you think the crowd knows his first name? We'll find out in a second.
Oh, there's going to be a change of plans.
Well, it's a good time to figure it out, right?
Well,
shot number one.
I watched him in practice, and he never missed. You take a look at Stu Williams from profile. Not a bad break, just leaving the 610 on that hit. And changing to a plastic spare ball.
Covers that one up.
It looks like he's going to go for, I thought he was going to go for a different piece of equipment. Instead, it's that part steering.
So both on 18 after the first frame.
And now it looks like he's going to urethane.
So let's see how this ball change works out for Big Stu.
Well, this will be much straighter, I promise you that. It's too weak down lane.
Good at 8.
Good at 8. That's something I should say, not you, Stu.
Just a little soft down lane.
So do you think another ball change might be in order?
Yeah.
Might go back to the original?
Something in between the two.
Spare ball out now. Stu goes to 36 after 2 using the current frame scoring system. '26-year-old EJ Tackett, 6th year on the tour. Already in double digits for tour titles. Well on his way to a Hall of Fame type career.
Oh, no.
Yeah, oh yes, Randy!
That was almost a dreaded 3-4 split and tripping the 3 forward. Huge break. Watch this. There was a lot of pins standing at one time, and now just the 4 pin.
8.5.
Was that the 10 that muscled it down?
I
Kind of tackled it at its ankles.
I can't remember. There was so much action going on.
And Tackett, part of history, one of only a handful who've won Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year. Just a couple of years ago, he was your PBA Player of the Year. Three-time member now of Team USA, 2011, 2018, and just named to the 2019 roster. He's a two-time member of the Junior Team USA. If you walk around the halls here in Arlington at the International Training and Research Center, you're going to see some wonderful old-school pictures of E.J. Tackett on the walls. Spare, strike.
You know, to draw a comparison between Liz Johnson and E.J. Tackett, Liz was playing the lanes at about 12 at the Euros, out to about 8, at about 18.5 miles an hour with a 340 RPM rev rate as we take a look at the final points. And this is how our players got here. Just edging out Andrew Anderson was E.J. Tackett. E.J. Tackett, 19 at the Euros, 6 at the break point, 19 miles an hour with a rev rate of 530. Oof. Yeah, Stewie, not liking that urethane look.
I mean, it's 8.
It really isn't.
8.
Yeah. I think he has to get in where E.J. Tackett is and open the lane up.
Slams those two into the pit. Kimberly standing by with our #1 seed, Anthony Simonsen.
Thanks, Rob. So, Anthony, I saw you watching the match a little bit. When you watch something like this, what is it you're exactly looking for, and can you take anything away from it?
You know, just trying to see which lane is playing a little more difficult, where the guys are playing, and help me get an understanding for my couple shots that I get on the lane and get ready to get the match started on a good start.
And what are you noticing today?
Looks like this right lane's playing a little difficult, so more than likely I'm going to finish on the left lane.
All right. Thanks so much for your time.
It's got to be close.
There you go.
That's better.
Staying with urethane. And to give you an idea of how much different the reactive resin bowling balls are compared to urethane, when Stu threw his first shot of the match, he used reactive resin. When he threw the urethane ball, it was 13 boards difference. 13 boards farther right with urethane.
Significant.
Golden Jackal for E.J. Tackett.
Came back nicely for Tackett as he strikes here in the 4th. I want to take one more look at the WBT final points from 2018, and you see Tackett just barely snuck in there at the #3 spot, had 21 more than Andrew Anderson. Remember, EJ had to go to the Men's World Cup, the World Championship in Hong Kong, had to win the all events title to get here. That was in the end of November, goes to Hong Kong, does what he had to do, and here he is in Arlington, continuing and looking for another title. Turkey! All right.
550 RPMs and almost 20 miles an hour, and that's approaching the two-handed style of Jason Belmonte and Jesper Svensson in terms of raw power. And just to think, it comes from a guy who probably weighs about $130 soaking wet.
$130, really?
Maybe.
I give him a few more LBs than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Chance.
I love the commentary from Stu.
Isn't it nice? It's nice just to be quiet and listen to him.
Chance.
It's got a chance.
Chance. It's got a chance. And a double for Stu Williams.
So it was 8 spare, 8 spare, 8 spare in his first 3 frames. Figured things out. Strikes in the 4th and the 5th as you look at his 3-ball arsenal today.
Fever pitch going with urethane. And I like the fact that he stayed committed, even though he didn't make the best of shots when he went to the urethane ball. but I think he feels he's pot committed now.
In it to win it. We begin the 6th. Down 13.
Chance.
Rob?
Chance.
That a boy.
Chance. Well, chances are when we return, we're going to wrap up this match and we're going to try our best, Randy, to detail Stu's follow through. Can I call it a follow through?
You can.
All right, here's your Columbia 300 fun fact tonight. This, the 8th year of the WBT Finals, and over that span, 23 different players, Randy, representing 9 different countries have qualified for the TV Finals of this event. Of course, we had a young Polish lady earlier today. We've got Stu from England in this match right now.
Type match through 5.5 frames. EJ Tackett working on a 3-bagger, as well as Stu Williams. See that motion there where that elbow kind of flies out to the right just a bit? That's when the player usually turns it a bit early. EJ Tackett a little bit inside of target on that shot and didn't really have that same shape. A little more up the lane.
We mentioned Tackett was your 2016 PBA Player of the Year. After that, 2 straight years of coming in 2nd place in voting for that.
Yeah. 11-time winner over the last 3 seasons. He's put together quite a resume at such a young age.
Yeah, a fast resume.
Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you.
I mean, this is walking into Kinko's and banging out a resume that gets you up onto the executive floor like that.
Ideal line, 19-4.
Nice. Boy, did that look nice, huh?
19-4.5. That time it was 20-7. And that's probably because he migrated a little bit left, anticipating transition.
Speaking of transition, during the break, you were noticing Anthony Simonsen, the #1 seed, bowling, getting loose on some side lanes, and expect perhaps the unexpected from Mr. Simonsen. That's a nice tease for you. We'll get to that a little bit later. Again, the winner of this one to take on Simonsen. Stu, 3 straight strikes, sitting at 144. Give that man a ham bone!
Let's take a look at Stu Williams' game with the track technique. It's all about his follow-through. Great positions at the foul line. I love what he does with his upper body. You see how he's kind of bent over, he's leaning, but he maintains that position. But the unique part about Stu Williams is this right here. This follow-through, or lack thereof. Asked Stu about that, and he said, well, I kind of learned that playing lawn bowling in England.
Transferred that technique to bowling, hence the lack of the follow-through, lawn bowling, like bocce, if you will.
Yeah. The other thing that Stu does is he creates great ball roll. He's got great hand at the bottom and plenty of rev rate.
1-pin game. 3 frames to go.
Come on. You see his location at the arrows right here. He's been pretty good pretty much all day, or excuse me, throughout this entire game with his location once he switched to that bowling ball in the 2nd frame.
Yeah, massive struggles for Stu in the opening 3 frames, all of them 8 spares, since then 5 straight strikes. So the pressure now swings over to EJ Tackett. Tackett with 4 strikes in his last 5 frames. Here he is to close out the 8th.
Oh no.
Messenger, just a little tap.
Awful break. Awful, awful break. Wow. Jumped right over the 7, and then the messenger misses it. Or the roller, I should say, misses the 7-pin. 194 in the 8th. Max score for E.J. Tackett, 254. Max score Stu Williams, 264.
Again, using the WBT current frame scoring system. 30 points for a strike in a frame. Back on the strike train.
Well, that was just filthy. We've seen some messengers. But
That was an airmail
yeah,
messenger.
That looked like it was shot out of a cannon. Watch this action.
It's like somebody threw it from the crowd.
Yeah.
So EJ sits down. .224. Oh, yes, come on, come on!
as he looks over at the booth. That went from 8-10 to kicking the 10 out to almost striking. Look at this.
I mean, are you kidding me?
The only problem now is it
Right, I've been proud of that one.
could cost him the match. With a spare, he'll have 223, max score 243. Tackett can strike to win by 1.
You're good at math.
Well, that math was wrong. I'm sorry. Stu's math was wrong. So strike for Stu Williams in the 10th frame. It's 253. Tackett, max score 254.
Again, max per frame here in this scoring system is 30.
You can take a rewrite. It's hard to not take a re-rack after the 8-10.
Make sure to join us for our next PBA telecast when the World Series of Bowling kicks off Monday, March 18th. You ready for this, man?
I am.
We got some heavy lifting to do. Live Monday the 18th from Allen Park, just outside of Detroit. It's the PBA Cheetah Championship at 8 Eastern. Live coverage of the World Series of Bowling continues all week long here on FS1, also streaming on the Fox Sports app.
Come on. One time.
One pin game. Stu gets 9 in the 10th.
Should have just thrown it harder. Should have thrown it harder.
I think what he tried to do here was give this just a touch of room, and if he had to do it all over again, I think Stu would have stayed where he was and amped up the speed. .242 for Stu Williams.
Yeah, quick whip away there
Yeah.
as well. Not pleased with how that one went down. So 242, Stu sits and Stu watches.
E.J. Tackett, 9 spare or strike, he advances. Well, you know, I got to be honest, that solid 7 that he left in frame number 8 was ridiculous in terms of bad breaks. So he just tripped the 9 out there, only leaving the 4, and I think he kind of deserves that. A spare here, he wins.
To the final goes EJ.
Good match. Thank you.
One pin affair here in Arlington, and the American EJ Tackett through 243, 242. Just needed to clean up that, and he did, and Stu, nothing he could do about it. Time
time now to go bowling with our Randy Peterson. Today, Randy continues his lifelong search of just trying to catch a break.
What's the break point and how do you find it? Well, let's see. Towards the end of my career, I had no clue. But in all seriousness, the break point is when the ball starts to come off the end of the pattern and you start to see motion. And how do you find it? Well, there's a lot of determining factors, like how fast do you throw it? What's your rev rate like? What piece of equipment are you using? What's your rotation like? How's that ball rotating? What I used to do was I would try to find the farthest point to the right that I could get the ball back to the pocket, and then the farthest point left where it would still hold line and hit the pocket, and then I would kind of park myself right in the middle of the two. That gave me the biggest margin for error to hit the pocket more consistently.
All right, back here on the floor, E.J. Tackett, Anthony Simonsen set to come up in our championship match. Just about 10 yards in front of us. Anthony Simonsen has been warming up for a while now. You notice something out of the corner of your eye, and it looks like we are in for a first.
Yeah, I think we're going to see something for the very first time out here. And funny because Johnny Petraglia told me a couple of years ago that this was going to happen, that we would see a two-hander, no-thumb two-hander, throw a backup ball on television. And we're going to see that with Anthony Simonsen.
And a backup ball is this.
Starts on the left, basically like throwing it like a left-hander. It's got the rotation that a left-hander would put on it, and he's going to play the left side of the lane because he feels he's got a better shot to the pocket.
Instead of entering the right side of the pocket.
Correct.
Let's mix it up and come in through the left. Should make for a fascinating final. The men's championship match coming your way next. Two Americans discussing it. Yeah, there's a lot of strategy in play for this one. E.J. Tackett, Anthony Simonsen, that one coming up next. Welcome back to the PBA on FS1. E.J. Tackett on the right, Anthony Simonsen on the left, the number 1 and the number 3 seed meeting here for the title at the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA. E.J. Tackett from Bluffton, Indiana, the 26-year-old who's already on the way to a Hall of Fame type career. He'll step up first.
And a ball change to start for EJ, but yeah, he's already Hall of Fame eligible at age 26. We talk about it all the time. I'm not sure how many times in my 19th year behind the mic for the PBA Tour that I've been able to say that.
And here we are at the Hall of Fame in Arlington, Texas. So much history and knowledge throughout this building. Tackett bowling now, and odds are he will be here for a long time to come.
Oh, yeah. Avoiding any injuries, E.J. Tackett's going to be here a while. Now, folks, you're in for a treat. Throwing urethane, the right-handed two-hander, Anthony Simonsen, is going to do something we've never seen before on national television. He's going to throw a backup ball up the left side of the lane. Just a little bit of belly, about 13-9 for Simonsen, and this is the most unique thing I've ever seen. I saw a little bit of Belmonte do it at an event, but this man has actually won a tournament doing this. In Delaware, last year, he beat Matt Sanders, who is left-handed. He won the Gene Carter Pro Shop Classic, where Anthony Simonsen threw a backup ball in the title match.
It's almost like an optical illusion, isn't it? Like we keep watching this and saying, well, he's throwing righty. He's kind of on the right side to start with, but it's shifted just a little more left. But that pocket entry is clearly on the left. Look at the curl home. 10 stands.
That's just dirty. We saw something like this from Tackett in game 1, where the head pin jumped over the 7. This time, just the opposite. The head pin goes skyward over the 10. Look at that.
Any reason to reevaluate his approach?
at this point?
No, he's committed. He's going to stay with it. Yeah.
And it's a win it. Not much real estate left on that spare pickup, but he gets it. So back-to-back 9 spares give Anthony Simonsen 38 after 2. Again, using the WBT current frame scoring system. Max in each frame is 30. Tackett.
Yeah, he didn't like it immediately.
Come on, man. What are you doing? God. What's that? It's awful.
Oh, nice spare pickup there. 3-time member now of Team USA is Tackett, hoping that bowling will someday be accepted into the Olympic Games. We were talking to him, Randy, about that subject. He said, I kind of scratch my head and say, how did that sport get into the Olympics and we can't? Golf was in, so many other sports have been added, but bowling just can't get that break. Hopefully that's going to change in the future. The bowling community certainly trying to make that happen.
First strike.
Chip 4-9. Nice little break here for E.J. Tackett. 1 pin takes out 2.
Third frame.
So 66 for EJ.
Got to get a strike track number on Simonsen's RPMs. Throwing it
righty, but it's being read as a lefty.
correct. Is that not redunculous or what? I mean, it's crazy. 450 RPM off his hand, throwing a backup ball. Just incredible. And his location at the arrows have been within 3 points of one another. 12.5, 12.8. Just ridiculous.
Back to the 2017 WBT final. It was a teenager, Anthony Simonsen, winning the title. Beard is filled out a little bit.
And he's so much more mature now at age 22.
Hey, come on, ball, come on.
What do you think, Rob? You ever seen anything like it?
I love it.
Because I haven't.
It's cracking me up. And I'm feeding off your energy because I heard your excitement when you and I were talking off camera. Where you're kind of nudging me and saying, look over there. Look, Anthony's, see what he's doing? And I can't see right now. I'm kind of focused on this broadcast, but I could hear the giddiness and the excitement.
And he's throwing a urethane ball.
Right? I mean, it's a trip.
Beauty there.
Tackett responds with a strike in the zone, so it remains a 2-pin affair.
There's so many purists out there that don't like the two-handed style to begin with. And now you throw this into the mix, a two-hander throwing a backup ball. So now he's got not only the two-handed action, but he can throw it from both sides of the lane.
Yeah, this two-handed style, it's kind of making some players almost extinct.
Yeah.
They will tell you, I can't compete. If there's one bit of an injury, one nag on the hip or knee or elbow or wrist or something, and they say, I can't get these rev rates. Oh, this is a tough one to compete with these guys. Tackett's got some work to do here in the 5th.
Man, I thought that was dead.
2-4-10.
Looking at strike track, the location was pretty good. The break point was pretty good. All the numbers look right.
I think that's what he's saying to himself.
And that's him saying, what? Are you kidding me?
This is the 2 and the 10. Remember that one. Remember that one in the 5th.
Oh,
And again, Strike Track brought to you by our friends at Kegel. And the great folks there, the great bowling minds down there in Lake Wales.
That's a wonderful, wonderful facility.
Yeah.
Great intel that it hands off to us as we look at Anthony's arsenal.
And there it is, the fever pitch, that the urethane ball that you can see just how weak that ball is. Ooh.
Damn it.
This is going to be interesting now, Bucket. And here's the thing. He can curve it from the right or left side when he's shooting a spare. Just incredible. This is a tough one. Last thing you want to do after your opponent gives you an opening is give it right back. Takes his plastic ball out and throws it straight at the cluster to maintain a 10-pin lead.
Youngest player to ever win a major in PBA history, doing it as a teenager. I shudder to think what I was doing at 19 years and 39 days. Probably a poor decision or 12 was being made by me. And this guy's winning majors. You know, watch out for this guy down the road. We're talking about E.J. Tackett as a no-brainer, essentially Hall of Famer. Simonsen is on the road to get to the Hall of Fame as well. He's not going to like this one, though, in the 6th.
Not sure how to analyze that last shot. If it was maybe a case of him trying to get a little more on it, I'm not sure if that's possible with the backup ball technique. I'm guessing it is, but that ball hooks up high and goes through the nose, and he pays for it. 4-6-10.
Tackett with an open frame in the 5th. Simonsen hands it back to him in the 6th. Well, you get the sense both these guys are going to kind of sit through this commercial break, ponder, wonder, and try to sort out their path to the men's championship trophy. The conclusion when we return here on FS1. The PBA on Fox is sponsored by Go Bowling. For promotional offers, tips to improve your game, news, or to locate a bowling center near you, log on to gobowling.com. Nighttime view from Arlington, Texas. And as the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA continues, the most fearless voice in sports is on FS1. Our good friend Colin Coward, unique, outspoken, and you can see him on the herd weekdays on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Take a look at our strike track comparison, Randall.
Well, normally if Anthony Simonsen would be bowling the way he normally does, you would see him and E.J. Tackett right on top of one another, but Anthony Simonsen going with the backup ball, and that's why he is over here on this side of the lane. E.J. Tackett on that side. And, you know, the numbers, the numbers are fairly close in terms of ball speed, rev rates, not all that much different.
19-pin affair. Tackett down again using the WBT current frame scoring system. A strike here would give him 30, and that's what he's got, and he's got the lead back.
E.J. Tackett made a ball change for this title match, and he's got to be a little careful because it's a little bit softer in terms of reaction down lane. So if he gets a little too firm, you're going to see that 2-4-8-10 combination again.
Just his 3rd strike here in the championship match. 3rd, 4th, and now the 6th frame. Looks for his 2nd double as we open the 7th.
Yeah! Well, he got all of that one. And then some.
We have a lead change. It's Tackett by 11.
Trip 9 late for E.J. Tackett, but that's 2 in a row. And Simonsen now with a strike in the 7th will trail by 11.
Oh, it's still a little better than the last 2.
Anthony threw 2 300 games throwing backup balls in December in Korea at the Domino's Pizza Storm Cup. E.J. Tackett finished 2nd in that event. honestly say I've seen it all.
Don't say that, because more is to come.
In between second and third arrow on the left, out to about second arrow down lane for Anthony Simonsen. And then look how his hand finishes like a regular right-handed delivery. It's amazing. I saw another guy do this, just kind of clips, bits and pieces. You might have heard of him. Jason Belmonte.
Well, the gauntlet's been handed down, right, from Anthony. Hey, Belmo, what do you got? You got this in your bag?
Speaking of Jason Belmonte, remember he and Simonsen met in the title match of last month's PBA Players Championship. Simonsen was the number 2 seed. He was out there trying to deny Belmo that record 11th major championship, and he succeeded. A brutal 7-10 split in the 10th put Belmo down for the count. Simonsen would finish him off 232-212. That win was Simonsen's second major PBA title. We saw him just last week, remember, finish second to Norm Duke at the Go Bowling PBA Jonesboro Open. This 22-year-old already having a wonderful 2019. Come on. And a big strike there.
Come on. That was me. No, that was me.
Second double. He's got a good little cheering crowd on hand. He lives in Little Elm, Texas, about 40 minutes north of the facility here. He's up to 183. Tackett's response in the 8th. Pretty good response. Pretty good response. Flow Bowling is the exclusive home of PBA's Extra Frame. Features live streaming of all Go Bowling PBA Tour and PBA 50 Tour events. Coming up on Flow Bowling, live daily coverage of the PBA's World Series of Bowling beginning this Tuesday, March 12th. Don't miss a minute of the action. All you got to do is click the Flow Bowling link on the PBA.com homepage, and you are subscribed. Just 11 pins separating Tackett and Simonsen. Here's EJ in the 9th. Not
Really?
at all what he
How does
wanted.
it go both ways? Gosh, darn it.
Well, I think part of the reason is because that left lane hooks a little bit more.
You've got to be kidding me.
And we see that sharp breaking ball reaction right before it gets to the head pin.
Gosh dang it.
Big opening here for Anthony Simonsen.
How many times tonight have we seen EJ have these moments where it's like, look at the numbers. They back me up. This should not be what we're seeing and experiencing. Brave attempt, but in the end, an open frame in the 9th.
How did that overhook like that? Come on.
So 203 for EJ.
A strike here for Simonsen. He takes the lead by 10. And more importantly, a strike in the 9th and one in the 10th, and he wins.
Come on, kid, let's go.
This is one of the toughest youngsters you'll ever run into right here.
Coming in the back door. Oh, can't get all 10 to go.
Yeah,
Not bad. That's all right.
that stinks. That's a terrible break.
Should get it relatively close.
If anything, it looked just a little bit slow, but that could have been friction. Spare here, he's 202, one back.
One pin separating the two of them.
If both players strike in the 10th, EJ Tackett wins by a pin. That's a terrible break, but hey, you know, that's the sport. He made a good shot.
They both have dealt with their share of bad breaks.
Absolutely. You know, some days you're the bug, and some days you're the windshield. And
Good one
right now, Anthony Simonsen looking for a strike and then some help. But he's got to be thinking, okay, if I don't strike on this ball, I have zero chance.
That's how you finish, kid.
Make him show up.
232, yeah. Make him show up.
Pretty impressive, especially seeing this for the first time on national television. Anthony Simonsen, right-handed, throwing it like a left-hander, and now E.J. Tackett needs a strike to win by one. Anything less than a strike, Anthony Simonsen wins sitting on the bench.
After all he's endured in this championship match, it's Tackett who controls his own destiny, steps up in the 10th, a strike for the win. He's done it!
Oh, man. Not surprising, former player of the year and runner-up back-to-back years for that honor. A great match came down to the 10th frame. E.J. Tackett
Thank you, guys.
puts a nice touch in the 10th and carries all 10.
This is awesome.
He won the opening match by one pin.
A lot to get this. Want to thank Motive, Turbo, Polar X, Genesis, High Five, everybody, Mongoose. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And now he's won the championship match by a solitary pin as well. Here it is, the final shot in the 10th for the win.
One of the best ever at getting the ball out of his hand. You see that release, throwing the ball down into the floor. And Anthony Simonsen can only sit and watch.
Well, Anthony did his part in the 10th to make it tight. Here's the winner with Kimberly.
EJ, it all came down to that 10th frame. Walk me through your process when you walked up to the foul line there.
It's plain and simple. You know, you got to knock down 10 or you lose. With the scoring format, you know, you have one chance and one shot. Luckily, I threw a good shot. It didn't go dead flush, but they all fell down. That's the most important part.
What did you think about Anthony throwing the backup ball like that?
He's very unique. He's done it before. He actually won a title last year doing that, and I'm sure something we'll see out of him more, but I don't think there's anybody else on tour that can do it as effective as he can, and it's pretty interesting.
Well, you had a solid game, and you earned this. Congratulations, EJ.
That is a well-deserved bow for E.J. Tackett, electrifying this crowd, and another one-pin victory here in Arlington. As we take a look at our game summary, Randy, brought to you by Strike Track.
E.J. Tackett did what he had to do in the 10th, obviously, by striking. Bad break for Simonsen, though, when he got up in the 9th and left that solid 8-pin. But what a performance by Simonsen, going with something completely unique and something we've never seen before in that backup ball from the right side. But it was all E.J. Tackett. E.J. surviving two big splits and two open frames.
Yeah, really struggled to get out of the gates, was questioning himself throughout a majority of this. In the end, though, he wins it. Coming up next, the World Series of Bowling, the 10th edition, coming your way from Allen Park, Michigan, just outside Detroit, right by the airport. Our next telecast coming your way March 18th. It kicks off 5 straight nights. We'll see it 8 p.m. Eastern. Earlier, it was Liz Johnson chucking one off her bucket list as she took the title. And then E.J. Tackett, all the way up from the 3 spot. Had to go back-to-back one-pin wins. First it was Stu Williams, and then your number 1 seed, Anthony Simonsen, the future Hall of Famer, gets another win.